President. Final argument on behalf of the state.
Let's talk about self-defense here for a second. Yeah, he's right. You're about to get instructed on the law. You're about to get your jury instructions. And I want to read one of those real quick. The threat or use of force against the deceased would not have been justified if the defendant provoked the deceased's use or attempted use of force unless the defendant abandoned the encounter or clearly communicated to the deceased his intent to do so. So, if Sean Foley provoked Jimmy Shelton's use of force, that's not self-defense. That's not self-defense. Now, the state is going to show you why here in a minute. It doesn't believe the proof shows that Jimmy charged him, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Jimmy charged him. Let's change the scenario here for a second. All right? Let's say Jimmy knocks the gun out of the way before he gets shot, and he beats up Sean. Are we going to charge Jimmy for protecting himself from a guy with a gun pointed at him? No. Jimmy has a right to defend himself too. He's on his own deck. And it may be distasteful, but Miranda and Jimmy can go get married tomorrow, lawfully. They are not blood relation. He is not her father. They are not any blood relation. If they wanted to go get married, they could go get married. If they wanted to engage in whatever, they can engage whatever. That's lawful. It may be distasteful, but it's lawful. Okay? And Jimmy is on his own porch, engaged in a consensual engagement with another person, and he has a man point a gun at him and say, I'm going to drop you. Jimmy can defend himself too. Jimmy has a right not to just sit there and die. So even if you believe that Jimmy Shelton went at the defendant, he was justified in doing so. And it was his actions that provoked Jimmy Shelton to do that. It was him pointing a gun and said, I'm going to drop you. If that's not provocation, I don't know what is. So the self-defense, it just doesn't fly. Mr. Kimsey talks about how you can hear on the recording Jimmy rushing him. This rustling noise, this shuffling noise. Now, I hate to have you do it, but you're going to listen to this again. All right? Because when does the rustling noise start? It starts when Sean starts to approach them. That's when the rustling noise starts. When does it stop? It stops when Sean stops moving. When does it start again? When Sean starts moving. And when does it stop for good? When Sean says, I'm going to call 911. That's when the rustling stops. Where's the phone? It's in his pocket. Okay? That's the rustling noise you're hearing. I'm going to play it one more time. You listen to the rustling. The rustling before the shooting and the rustling after the shooting are exactly the same.
I'm starting this now.
I fucking swear to God. All that's on fucking recording and it's recording right now. I fucking swear to God, you sick fuck. You fuck with her again, and I will fucking drop you.
Sean, stop.
No! That's too fucking much. You're fucking stop! That's too fucking much! Sean! No! That's too fucking much. You go over here now. Come here. Come here now! I'm calling 911. What did you think? He was molesting her. I have it all on recording.
Did you shoot him?
Yes!
That's when the rustling stops. Because he gets the phone out to call 911. That is, the state would submit not proof that there's some sort of fight, wrestling going on the porch. He just put that phone in his pocket from the second he decided to leave that room. Now why? Why does he put the phone in his pocket? Because he needs his hands. What's he needs his hands for? He needs his hand for his weapon. He needs his hand for his gun. He's not going out there to approach Jimmy and say, I'm going to drop you with this phone. That's not what he's doing. He's going to say, I'm going to drop you with this .40 caliber. That's what he's doing. Listen to the recording the whole time. You can't hear Miranda and Jimmy beforehand, can you? You can't hear them. It's soft. It's quiet. Right there before the shooting, you can hear Jimmy just fine. Why is that? Because Sean is right next to him. There's no longer this big distance separating them. There's not this distance. Sean is next to him. You gotta love technology. There is a photograph, and it is an exhibit. And it is the exhibit where Jimmy is on the porch. And it's the one that Elizabeth Murphy took at the very beginning. Okay? And this coil of hoses is right there at the front of the porch. Right there. And what's in that hose? You'll see it. It's the holster. The holster is sitting in this hose, not over by the door. Okay, not over by the door. It's sitting there on that end of the porch. Why is that? Because Sean Foley's over there. He has gone up to Jimmy and Miranda. He has gone up to them. He's not back there retreating. He's gone up to them. He's approached them. Okay? He says Jimmy grabbed his gun. It's right here in the autopsy report. Exhibit 59. The body is received clad in a cut white t-shirt, a pair of shorts, a pair of socks, and one shoe. The hands are bagged. Each hand is individually covered by a brown paper bag secured with yellow evidence tape. The victim's hands are bagged. You know what's not in here? Every other injury this person has in this body is notated in this report. There's not one injury or piece of evidence on the victim's hands. Not one. It's right here, exhibit number 59. It's not happening. You have to ask yourself, what rings is true and what rings is false? You are the ultimate determiners of fact. You have to make that decision based on the evidence and the testimony. What rings true and what rings false? The state submits that the testimony of the defendant, Sean Foley, is not supported by the evidence. It is not supported by anything. The man on trial, who all of a sudden, he can tell 911 that he rushed me. He can tell 911 that he molested her. He leaves out that he went for a gun. That seems to be a critical piece of information that he would have relayed at that time. He told them everything else that was going on. He recorded everything else going on. But here today, now all of a sudden, Jimmy wearing a short pair of gym shorts. You ever seen someone carrying concealed? You going to put a gun in a pair of gym shorts all day and no one's going to notice that you had it there? That doesn't ring true. That doesn't ring true. That's not the way it works. So, there is one thing I do want to point out. Dr. Lockmuller talked about the shoring and the exit wound on the back. Okay? For one of these gunshot wounds, and there is no way to tell what order these wounds were in. Which shot was first, second, third, fourth. You cannot guess that. But one of these wounds, Jimmy's back, is up against a firm object. Now, the defense wants you to believe that somehow a Matrix-style victim falling through the air is somehow pressed up against something when he gets shot. And that's how that shoring created. That doesn't ring true. There's two possibilities that do ring true the state would submit. One is that he's laying on the deck and he's already been shot and Sean Foley finishes him off. That's certainly possible. Mr. Kimsey has an issue with that. He says there's no blood on the bullet hole in the porch. Okay, so what's your other option? Your other option is Jimmy's not charging. He's sitting in a chair. And that's where this downward angle comes from. And maybe he's starting to get up. Maybe he's tired of this guy pointing a gun in his face. And maybe he's starting to get up. And he's up in the chair when it goes through. And that's how it causes shoring. But something caused that shoring. That is the scientific evidence you heard from Dr. Lockmuller. So either he's sitting in the chair when he gets shot, or he's laying on the deck when he gets shot. Or he's flying through the air somehow pressed up against some object while he's doing it. The state submits those first two alternatives ring true. The other does not. He talks about a hole in a chair arm. There's no blood on that chair arm. There's nothing there. I don't know how your back would even be up against a chair arm hard enough while it's falling through the air to cause that. What it boils down to is this is about anger. It's about jealousy. Sean Foley sat there and told you that he was retreating, that he was running away. Now, there's this really short clip that you heard about Miranda saying, stop, stop, stop. All right, I'm going to play it one more time, but I don't want you to listen for Miranda. I want you to listen for Sean. Listen for Sean's voice. What is Sean saying in these seconds before the shooting? What is Sean saying? Listen to it one more time.
Sean, stop.
No. Watch your clock. Stop.
That's too fucking much. That's what he says. Is that a man running away? Is that a man retreating as he testified on that stand? Now that's a man ticked off. That's a man mad that his girlfriend is having a sexual encounter with another person. He's not retreating. He's angry. He's mad. And why? Why is he angry or mad? Because he's not in control. It's okay for him to record Miranda having sex with another woman, but it's not okay for Jimmy to do it. It's okay for him to profit off of Miranda's sex videos, but it's not okay for Jimmy to do it. He's acting like he's her pimp or something. That he can control what she does, when she's allowed to do things, when she's not. That's what this is about. It's about control. He's mad that she's doing something that he doesn't approve of. She can use her body when he's okay with it. She can do this when he's okay with it. But if she does it and he's not okay with it, he's going to take matters into his own hand. And that's exactly what happened on August the 28th, 2018. Miranda Goddard, whatever you want to call it, she is an adult. She made that decision with Jimmy Shelton. And whatever you want to say is not against the law to do that. They're not related by blood. They were consenting adults and they can do that. And Sean Foley doesn't have a right to kill a man. Because he doesn't like it. That is not how the laws of the state of Tennessee work. That is not how our society has set up our laws. You cannot kill someone because they're not doing what you want them to do. That is not how it works. So respectfully, the state of Tennessee submits that the evidence points to one and only one conclusion. Sean Foley didn't like what was happening, so he took matters into his own hand. He got his gun, he procured his weapon, he walked out, he pointed it at an unarmed man, Jimmy Shelton, he declared his intent. He pointed a gun. You don't point a gun unless you plan on using it. You don't say, I'm going to drop you, unless you plan on doing it. This isn't a movie. This is real life. This isn't some theoretical person. Jimmy Shelton is dead because Sean Foley declared his intent, pointed his weapon, and bang, 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 bang. He unloaded 8 times. That's not an accident. That is not a mistake. That is intentional. That is intentional. So respectfully, the state of Tennessee asks that you find him guilty of first-degree murder.
Thank you, General. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, for me to charge you, by law, I must read you the jury instructions. They are lengthy, and I will have to read them out loud. Given the hour and the fact that I've been notified that your lunch is here, and after I've read the jury instructions, that's when I dismiss the alternates. I'm going to go ahead and take a short break, let you have lunch, bring you back in, read the jury instructions to you, and then charge you and send you back to deliberate. It is very important at this time that you do not begin any deliberations. You do not have any discussion about the evidence, the arguments, or anything that you've heard. Do not consult any outside sources, conduct any independent investigation, do not express an opinion, a belief, or violate any of the other of the court's admonitions thus far. It's critical, it's important. I'm going to give you a break. You'll have your lunch. When you are finished, please, and you are ready to proceed, just let the officers know. We're not going to take a certain amount of time. I'm going to let you eat, and then I'm going to bring you right back in when you tell me that you are ready. Are all of you ready to proceed then to lunch? Everybody understand the court's admonitions? Everyone understand how important it is? Okay, thank you very much. All rise. Okay, please be seated. So how the court intends to proceed, their lunches are here. I'm going to go ahead and let them eat. Attorneys do not go far, because as soon as they indicate that they are ready, I'm going to bring them back to charge them. I estimate with the length of this jury charge, it's going to take me at least 30 minutes to read it. Hopefully, maybe not, well, that's a rough estimate. So if you all will stay close, I'm going to read the jury charge and then send them right back to deliberate. Okay, thank you. Court will be in recess until the jury indicates they're ready.